perpetrating on these two men. I mean, you just got them all messed up in the head. Thought he was the father, then he heard you cheated, then he didn't want to be the father, but he is the father. You finally done now?
I think I'm starting to see the light, Your Honor.
He don't just slip on a banana peel and land between your legs. We shoot it straight in here, baby. And you know what? As women, sometimes we just have to be honest enough to say, you know what? That hurt me. But you let him invest his heart and soul and his money and his time. And then you sit up in front of this court and in front of me as a woman and suggest, oh, you just did that to get what you wanted to get out of it. What does he want to get out of it? It was gonna be about you.
Mr. Jordan thought he had it all figured out. He was the proud papa of little Caitlin. But according to him, Miss Haim had other plans, and she turned his world upside down. According to Miss Haim, she's the victim here. Mr. Jordan abandoned her and her daughter, and she's here to prove he's the father.
Jordan, you claim the defendant tricked birth certificate and being a daddy. But 2 years later, you were told that another man is her biological father.
Mr. Jordan was convinced that Ms. Haim tricked him into believing he was Caitlin's dad. He claimed she lied and said the other guy, Mr. Knight, had already taken a paternity test. But according to Ms. Haim, Mr. Jordan had been there for everything, from the cravings to the afterbirth.
Honor.
So, Mr. Jordan, you say Ms. Haim tricked you?
Yes.
Explain.
She tricked me into thinking that I was the father. She tricked me into thinking that Caitlin was my first daughter.
So Ms. Haim is a little bit of a trickster, huh? If Mr. Jordan is telling the truth, this case could be an uphill battle for Ms. Haim. And what's up with her just standing there and smiling? Like, are we hearing the same thing?
Yeah.
Were you being deceitful, Ms. Haim?
No, ma'am. He's a great father, and I only had sex with one man when we were together.
Ms. Haim might have been smiling because she was confident. She seemed super sharp giving that testimony. That's why I don't understand how she fumbled it at the end. For the 100th time, I just know does not count as evidence in this court or any court for that matter.
And he needs to stop listening. No, he listens to his family members, my family members, the people on the street, and everything about that. And I just came today to show everybody on the street.
Yeah, she must have been smiling through the pain because Ms. Haim just cued in the waterworks. That's a tough question to answer, especially when you're not sure who your kid's real dad is.
Yeah, if I will, there's never been a moment where Caitlin and I have been around each other and she feels like I love her less than or anything like that.
I'm not judging your cravings, Ms. Haim, but did you eat the pickles with the ice cream? Either way, Mr. Jordan was there to provide both, which makes the fact that they're both here today pretty crazy. What's even crazier is that Mr. Jordan was and still is ready to be a dad to little Caitlin.
But this is what I don't understand. It was all going well.
It was, you know what I'm saying?
And so how does it go wrong?
This is where it goes wrong. Her and the family member get to like an altercation or whatnot, like an argument. It wasn't even an altercation, it was an argument.
Now that, folks, is what we call a bombshell testimony. Props to Mr. Jordan too, cause not everyone could have narrated that story so smoothly. I can't imagine what must have been going through Mr. Jordan's head at the time, after all those foot rubs and pickles. Oh, and it gets worse.
But as she was saying it, she pulls out bone. And she started showing me I could pull it up. I ain't gotta lie. That's what the family member tells me.
My family
and I'm like, that of the other guy and my daughter, you know what I'm saying, like having moments together or...
See that Ms. Himes, that's what real evidence looks like. The picture of a stranger holding your little girl with a caption claiming he's the dad. I can't help but feel bad for Mr. Jordan because as things stand right now, it seems like Ms. Haim took him through the ringer.
So this is another one posted up, and this is from
Santavius
Knight, and it reads, "Me and my baby Kate."
Time to even take my daughter over to somebody else's house. Like,
oh man, Miss Haim has been playing a dangerous game. How did she not think this would come back to bite her in the ass? Come on, the least she can do right now is come clean for Caitlin's sake.
Santavius, that he's calling her his baby.
I didn't tell him that. I told him I was pregnant.
Miss Haim, I'm gonna need you to tell me what deal is. I need to know what's going on.
Thank you, Judge Lake. Everyone, myself included, is getting sick and tired of Ms. Haim being caught up in one lie after another. What's the deal, Ms. Haim?
She's old enough to know. Father is Mr. Jordan or Santavius.
Chris.
Have you ever told Santavius Knight, this gentleman here, that he is her biological father?
All I said was that I was pregnant when I first found out I was
Trying to get Ms. Haim to talk is like trying to get a dog to breakdance. It's just not happening. Judge Lake is as frustrated as everyone else in that courtroom, and Mr. Jordan's case just just got a whole lot stronger. This case could be a done deal once Mr. Knight steps in.
We are here discussing the paternity of Caitlin, and it has been brought to this court's attention. There are pictures of you with Caitlin where you put in a caption that this is me and my baby Kate, where you are
just as I expected, Mr. Knight's testimony has Ms. Haim stuttering. This is turning into a beatdown. Every single testimony has been destroying Ms. Haim's case, and she hasn't had a single good response. I guess that's what happens when you tell that many lies.
Down in April, I had sex, and then I found out I was pregnant in June, so how is that possible? I just called him and let him know that I was pregnant.
What did you say she said to you again?
She told me to do with my baby. She said, I'm pregnant. I said, what you telling me for?
Ms. Haim has to be kidding. Either that or she's just a terrible human being. Because why in the world would you play two men who genuinely want to help like that? I'm just sad she roped her daughter Caitlin into this whole mess.
Why did you tell Mr. Knight he was the biological
I did not.
father?
I said I was pregnant.
Where's he getting all these stories about making the birth certificate right and all of this?
I don't know. I called him when I found out I was pregnant and told him that I was
Oh my God, the lies just keep coming. At this point, I'm not even sure Ms. Haim is her real name. She's probably even lying about being in the courtroom. Quick, someone tap her on the shoulder and make sure she's not a hologram.
What is this smirk? You had the same smirk on your face. Burst out crying when the case first started. You're just so tired of this, and you're just tired
I
of
do want it to
going
be
through
over.
this. What is the smirk? What's behind your eyes? What are you feeling? Why?
Finally, an honest statement from Ms. Haim. She's been dodging those questions like a pro boxer, but at least she answered the most important one. And sure, it took some tough love from the judge and a whole lot of tears to get here, but Ms. Haim might finally be accepting the truth. She messed up.
It's okay, because when you tell it, it can't hold you hostage anymore. It can't. You're in your own prison. And that's why you're just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and lying and telling this person one thing and this person one thing. It can't hold you hostage.
Finally, the results are in, and this monumental mess is finally going to get cleared up. You've got to appreciate how Judge Lake handles this one, though. She even had some wise words for Ms. Haim at the end. Well, there's no more hiding from the truth now. The DNA test results are in, and Caitlin's father is about to be revealed.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan, you are Caitlin's biological father.
Man, this case was a total mess from the start. Ms. Petty is trying to figure out who the daddy is for her little girl Alea. And just like the last case, she's got two potential fathers, Mr. Ballet and Mr. Daniel. It's another love triangle gone wrong.
Miss Petty, you say you grew up without a father and claim you don't want the same for your daughter, Alea.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you've asked the court to DNA test two men who may be her biological father.
This seems pretty clear-cut, right? A woman who believes one man is her baby daddy and another man who believes he's the baby daddy. I didn't say it was normal, I just said it seems straightforward. But as we've already come to expect from this court, nothing is ever as simple as it seems.
So, Mr. Ball, tell the court, why do you have doubt?
So the reason I doubt her is because she was sleeping around with me and Peter at the same time. The only reason I started messing around with her was to get my son.
And all she wanted was what? Yeah, that caught me off guard too, Judge Lake. Ms. Petty is wrong for using her son as a bargaining chip, but hey, she must have really wanted that. You know?
I'm waiting to hear these doubts.
Miss Petty told me she was on birth control. I tried to stop messing with her, but every time I should go ahead and bring like, well, you can't see your son and all this, you ain't gonna be able to.
Well, if that doesn't give you doubts, I don't know what will. I get where Mr. Ball is coming from, because there's no way I'm accepting paternity over a child who's got named after another man.
Mr. Ball first that I was pregnant before I even told Mr. Daniel. He told me because he was in a relationship, he didn't want to ruin his happy home. He didn't want nothing to do with my daughter. He told
I told her I wouldn't.
Who's telling the truth here? One of these two is lying, and it'll all come crashing down soon enough. But I'll tell you what, Ms. Petty is looking awfully suspicious, and I don't think her stories are going to stay straight for very long.
I feel like I'm watching a tennis match. My neck's just going back and forth and back and forth, and you right here in the middle. And I need to know from you how you got here.
That's exactly what happens when you test Judge Lake's patience. You get burned. Mr. Ball actually had some good points. He should just wait his turn to give them. And come on, Ms. Petty. Growing up without a father is no excuse for resigning your child to the same fate. Well, at least she's here today looking for answers.
When I first met Mr. Ball, I fell in love with him. He told me about some stuff he was going through, and he knew what I was going through. And everything was fine, and then he left. And while I was pregnant with my son, I went through kids making fun of me about it.
That was a very emotional testimony from Ms. Petty, but can we really buy it? I mean, I feel for her. I really do. But I don't think that justifies sleeping with two men. Still, those women women that bullied her were way out of line.
Why is it that you give her another man's name?
Exactly.
You didn't want her to asking the question.
Sorry.
Miss Petty,
I ain't giving
tell
my
me what
life.
you're feeling.
I'm feeling like regardless of the result.
Ms. Petty doesn't look like a player, but the way she's juggling these two men, she's in the big leagues. Mr. Ballet is clearly frustrated, and again, who wouldn't be? He seems like the victim right now, but based on how quickly things change in this court, that could change pretty soon.
So during the window of action, about how often were you sleeping with each man?
I would have sex with them on the same day.
I was afraid I was going to hear that.
All she was trying to do was break a relationship.
I take back what I said. Ms. Petty isn't in the big leagues, she's in a league of her own. Sleeping with two men without protection on the same day? She's just asking for trouble at this point.
I wasn't even avoiding it. If the case is...
This is classic. You said you weren't avoiding the DNA test. Did you hear this, Jerome? He's not avoiding it, but why can't Mr. Daniel take it right then and there?
I'm pretty sure Mr. Ballet is just freestyling now. He's all out of evidence and clapbacks, but it's a good thing the other witness is around. Well, maybe not good for Ms. Petty, but who knows? Maybe he'll end up making her case stronger. Let's hear what Mr. Daniel has to say.
Having a sexual relationship with Mr. Ball, also with you. But you two were in a relationship, right?
Yep.
You obviously have doubt, but how did that doubt come about?
We were at the hospital, and there was a situation where I looked at her.
Okay, well that wasn't a very strong opening, was it? But to be fair, Mr. Daniel wants the baby to be his, so he'll probably go easier on Ms. Petty. On the other hand, Ms. Petty openly admitted to cheating on him with the guy standing right in front of him. How is he so calm?
What's going on here? It sounds like you are caught between two men.
I am feeling like I'm stuck between the two. When me and Mr. Daniel got together, I cut ties off with him.
Damn, is Judge Lake a part-time detective, because those are some smooth deduction skills. And what's up with Ms. Petty? We don't know for sure, but it looks like she's with a great guy who's a great dad to her kid. But she still wants to be with Mr. Ballet, a man who wants nothing to do with her or her daughter.
You and Mr. Ball had a sexual relationship.
Last week.
It was not last week. Your Honor, the last time we had a sexual relationship is when she said they broke up.
Mr. Daniel, I see you stomping your foot. Is that anger?
You better grab some popcorn, folks, because this is heating up. Ms. Petty is sneakier than I thought, and Mr. Ballet is no saint either. I'm no expert, but having a secret phone is probably in Chapter 1 of the Cheater's Handbook.
Remember she said, I always come to her asking. No, she'll text me telling something, what's up with Snakey and stuff like that.
That is actually correct.
Are we still on paternity court, or did someone switch shows to Cheaters? And getting caught is bad enough. Laughing and smiling about it, man. That's just downright disrespectful. Ms. Petty's tears are all dried up now, and she's looking guiltier than she ever did.
I can see the truth is from the look on your face that you all had another sexual encounter that day.
I wasn't even trying to that day.
But not about
I promise. I worked all night. I wasn't even trying to. And then,
come on, Mr. Ballet, really? By the way he was talking about her a few minutes ago, you'd think that Mr. Ballet wouldn't even look twice at Ms. Petty. But boy, oh boy, that man can lie. Now, I don't even know who's the bigger liar. Is it Mr. Ballet or is it Ms. Petty?
Young, beautiful baby here in this present moment that deserves to know who her father, right? One man in particular you hope is her father?
Either way it goes, I just want them to be a father.
With all the chaos going on in the courtroom, we nearly forgot the reason why we're here, baby Alea. Judge Lake has heard enough, and it's time to reveal the DNA test results. Everyone is on edge, and the stakes couldn't be higher. You might want to sit down for this one.
Mr. Ball, you are her father. Absolute silence.
He do not deserve to be father.
Ms. Brown's life is about to change. She was adopted when she was just a baby, and after all these years, she was contacted by a man who might be her birth father. Keyword might. That's why we're in this courtroom today, to find out if Mr. Hampton is really Ms. Brown's long-lost father.
Ms. Brown, you stand before the court with your mother, Alicia Brown. You say your world was recently turned upside down when you were contacted by a man whom you've never even heard of.
This one's a doozy, folks. We don't get a lot of men trying to prove that they are the father on this show, so it's always a welcome sight when one comes through. I don't know how Ms. Brown feels about her dad finally making contact after all these years.
What happened when you were first contacted by Mr.? How did you even hear from him?
Well, first and foremost, I am adopted. I was adopted when I was 3 months old, so
Talk about a life-changing revelation, and the way she found out is wild. Some girl just slides into her DMs on Instagram claiming to be her long-lost sister, and a message from a dad you've never known on Facebook? Yikes, that's enough to make anyone's head spin.
And so what were you thinking when you read that?
Who are you?
So you've never met this man?
No.
Never heard of him?
Nope.
And next thing you know, he's on your Facebook saying,
What a story indeed. I'm dying to know how this one unravels. I also have a bunch of questions, but I bet Ms. Brown has a lot more than I do. The good thing is we're both about to get some answers because Mr. Hampton is about to join us.
Hello, Your Honor.
thank you for being here. So we just heard an amazing story from Ms. Brown.
I've been looking for my daughter for 20 years, Your Honor.
Well, I don't really agree with how she said it, but I definitely agree with what she said. If Mr. Hampton was there through her mom's pregnancy and birth, why did she end up getting adopted at 3 months old? If I was her, I'd be salty too. Would you mind answering that question, Mr. Hampton?
I had the opportunity to take when I met her at the mall. I didn't know whether she wanted me to take you permanently. I couldn't take you at the time. I had to go back to Seattle.
Something tells me Mr. Hampton is skipping some major parts of this story, and saying Ms. Brown's troubled mom is the reason he left sounds super sus. I can't wait to see that evidence, because Mr. Hampton has left us with more questions than answers.
So this is a picture of, you say, is Ms. Brown's birth mother.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she's pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I've kept this photo for years.
Well, that was underwhelming. Again, some people may knock Ms. Brown's attitude, but man, I'd have said so much worse. If anything, she's just trying to protect herself from the pain of standing next to a man who may have abandoned her when she was a toddler.
That may be true, that in the picture, the baby you're holding is your daughter. But why are you so sure that it is Ms. Brown?
He was off to a shaky start, but hopefully Mr. Hampton has some actual evidence to present this time. Either way, I can't blame the man for trying. After seeing so many men trying to deny their children, it's good to see one fighting to claim his daughter.
When's the last time you saw her? Before today, if this is in fact your daughter.
I haven't seen her since she was about 2 weeks old, Your Honor.
About 2 weeks old.
2 weeks old, Your Honor.
If Ms. Brown is really Mr. Hampton's daughter, this is going to the most difficult reunion ever. His daughter was 2 weeks old the last time he saw her, and the craziest part about it all is, they could literally be in the same room right now. Let's just hope this next piece of evidence is better than the last one.
So you went back to Washington, then you came back to Alaska, and her birth mother gave you this picture.
Yes, Your Honor. And I still have that. I've kept that photo on my wall for the last 20 years, Your Honor.
It's not the most convincing photo, but it's definitely a step in the right direction for Mr. Hampton. Everyone is seeing the resemblance between the baby in the photo and Ms. Brown. Everyone, including Ms. Brown.
Your Honor, I contacted social services, Your Honor, and I told them I didn't want my daughter adopted. They told me that I needed to get a paternity test, Your Honor.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm 20.
No offense, Mr. Hampton, but I'm pretty sure you didn't look hard enough considering Ms. Brown hasn't really been hiding. And to be fair, Mr. Hampton has been looking for his daughter. We still don't know if that's Ms. Brown or someone else entirely.
I want to hear from your Ms. Brown, please stand. And first ask you, have you ever seen this picture of your daughter?
Yes, I have.
You have?
I have, and I'm curious to know how her...
Well, things are getting interesting. How could Kayla's biological mom have that picture, let alone know that it exists? I've got a ton of questions that just keep piling up.
So when you adopted her, did you have any information given to you about father?
There's no one listed as a father on...
What are you reading?
Papers?
May I see that?
Your Honor, I got child support papers.
Things just went from 0 to 100. I could have sworn a few minutes ago the most complicated thing about this case was a creased up photo of Mr. Hampton, his baby mama, and his daughter. But now, we've got adoption papers and child support documents. Where do we go from here?
And yet you're telling me 3 or 4 men were tested, and every test...
Yeah, because we wouldn't have been able to legally adopt. We had her from the time she was 3 weeks old. She came to us.
Ms. Brown's adoptive mom, Alicia, clearly loves her daughter, and it's good to see that even though Ms. Brown didn't have her biological parents in her life, she had a great family to support her. And the fact that a bunch of men got tested and the results came back negative has to be good news for Mr. Hampton.
They had me paying child support, Your Honor.
Let me see that paperwork.
They knew.
That doesn't make sense.
Paying child support.
That's what
Don't they have to
doing.
determine paternity to be able to make you pay child support?
Yeah, you do have to have a paternity affidavit.
Well, then they must have proved that I was your father then.
This is starting to look a lot less like a court case and a lot more like a mystery thriller. Ms. Brown's adoptive parents were searching for her real dad. Mr. Hampton was paying child support for a daughter he'd barely ever seen, and Ms. Brown's biological mom was nowhere to be found.
I've celebrated her birthday every single year, Your Honor. I've always put her name on the cakes, Your Honor, because, Your Honor, I didn't.
Jerome, I
didn't forget about her, Your Honor.
Every year you put her name on a birthday cake.
That's right, Your Honor.
Whoa, Mr. Hampton is really serious about this. He truly believes his daughter Kayla is actually Ms. Brown. And all these years, he's never stopped believing. That's the kind of energy you can't help but root for. And as the case goes on, his story is getting more and more believable.
Reaching out to social service.
Your Honor, I've gave you the letter from social services.
Department of Health and Social Services.
I've reached
In
out,
May
Your Honor.
1994, dear Mr. Hampton, 2 phone messages from you. And I don't have a number to contact you. Please be advised.
Well, that one stumped him. I'm actually surprised he didn't have a rebuttal for that question, but I'm more disappointed than I am surprised. I was really rooting for Ms. Brown to be Mr. Hampton's daughter, but if he's been lying about something as major as Ms. Brown's mom this entire time, I don't know what to think anymore.
I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like you are, but you didn't take me when she asked you, you know? I don't care for how long. It does, you know, even if you couldn't.
After one hell of a mystery, the court is full of every kind of emotion you can think of. Ms. Brown feels abandoned, Mr. Hampton feels anxious, and the entire courtroom feels like clicking on fast forward to get to the results. The DNA test results are in, and this may well be the biggest reveal of all time.
Mr. Hampton, you have desperately waited for this answer. You are not her father.
That can't be right, Your Honor.
But that is me in the picture.
Nathaniel Webb and his girlfriend, Aubriana Reams, are in court to dispute Tasha Cole and her mother's claim that Webb fathered Tasha's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. Tasha asserts that Webb denies paternity to protect his relationship with Aubriana. Oh, this looks like there will be loads of drama. Let's dig in.
All right, so Mr. Webb, how can you be so certain you are not the child's biological father?
I never had sex with her, Your Honor.
Well, that would rule you out. You've never had sex with her?
No.
Yeah, he did.
She's a liar. She's crazy.
Ms. Cole, we've heard a lot of defenses in this courtroom.
This is a tricky situation. Is it possible to father a child without being intimate with its mother? I don't think so. Plus, Mama Cole said Webb stayed at her daughter's house, and she and her husband took care of him. So, things don't add up.
You know dang good and well that me and my husband took care of you the whole time you were there.
I didn't see you but one time the whole time I was there.
Yeah, you were in her.
All right, let's get some order.
You're right, so you need help just much.
Let's get some order. So, Ms. Cole, you said you and your husband were taking care of Mr. Webb?
Yes.
There are only 2 explanations for why Webb could stay with another woman. Either they were in a non-exclusive relationship, or Webb wasn't her boyfriend then. Who would be okay with their partner staying at someone else's place, even for a short visit? Webb's girlfriend jumps into the conversation just as this question hangs in the air.
I've known him for 7 years, and he is not like that at all. And you called me with his friend telling me that he was there for 3 weeks and you guys were having sex and blah, blah, blah. At first, I did believe that. But then I heard his story, and none of it. Shut up, I am talking.
Hold on. Let's be respectful.
So anyway.
Nobody does, Judge. Not a single person. Webb denies responsibility for Tasha's pregnancy, claiming he argued with her about it over text. However, Tasha alleges Webb previously admitted to being the father.
Ever acknowledge that he was the father?
He admitted to my
cousin. You are a liar.
He admitted to my cousin that he was the dad.
What do you think, Mr. Webb, is Miss Cole's motive if you say you've never slept with her? Why manufacture all of this?
I think she's obsessed with me.
This is getting exhausting. Now there's some confusion about who Tasha's baby daddy is. Initially, it seemed like it wasn't Webb, but her due date made her suspect it might be him. Her explanation clarifies things a bit. Let's see what she has to say.
For certain that the other guy was the dad until my due date got changed a month ahead, which would make him the dad. It went from February 22nd to January 28th.
You submitted a calendar to the court, am I correct? Oh, you have another copy. Jerome, let me see that, please.
Well, Despite Tasha's explanation, Webb insists she's wrong. That quickly died down, and the judge decided to get into the whole partying situation.
If it goes on that long, are you sure that one night of partying didn't lead you to sleep with her and you may not even recall?
You know, I've actually...
Or want to admit in front of your girlfriend?
Yeah. No, I've thought of the possibility. Yep. Me and her have had this conversation over and over. She knew I was over there partying. I didn't hide nothing from her.
Oh, wow. At this point, someone needs to hold Tasha, or better still, she needs to stay out of Aubriana's sight, or else she wouldn't like what's coming for her. Webb's girlfriend was beyond mad when Tasha made that nasty statement.
Plenty of times.
It's about
I've known him for 7 years.
It's about that big.
Definitely not. And don't you dare tell him about his penis.
To find out if he's the father. I was without my father for 39 years. I want to know that my grandchild has a father. It's pretty bad.
It ain't me.
Not having a dad.
Everything just keeps getting worse and wilder. At some point, they all started to argue about baby Majestic's skin color, which was not even funny. None of their testimonies seemed to provide a solution to the issue of Majestic's paternity. We all know only one thing can definitely help: the DNA test result. I'm eager to find out what the result says. Let's find out, shall we?
Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
Ms. Webb.
There, get her there, get her there.
Mr. Webb, Ms. Reams.
But I want a lie detector.
Listen, we don't clown in this courtroom.
This might feel like a win for Webb, but unfortunately, baby Majestic's biological father remains a mystery. Ultimately, as the judge acknowledges, the show's purpose is to determine the child's true paternity, regardless of personal rivalry.
I know you probably feel relieved, vindicated, but at the same time, there's a beautiful young baby whose life and paternity is still at issue. Ms. Cole, you stood firm in your testimony that you were intimate with Mr. Webb.
Yes.
And this other guy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Lopez is a mother to 2 children, Aliana and Noah. She is in court to establish that her ex, Horatio Carbajal, is their father. This comes after Carbajal and his family conducted a DIY DNA test on the children to determine paternity, which Lopez alleges was falsified. At the start of the case, Judge Lauren inquired about when the paternity doubts arose.
Paul, take me back. You meet each other.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm trying to figure out why was there ever doubt in the first place.
Well, I met her through a social network. She told me, hey, come see me, you know, for the weekend or just one night. So I went to go see her. And that day that I went to go see her, we basically had sex that first night.
Lopez's testimony clarifies that Carbajal didn't plan to have a baby with her, yet they had 2 in 3 years. Meanwhile, Carbajal accused Lopez of being a gold digger, claiming she deceived him into thinking he was Aliana and Noah's dad.
She knows
I don't care about money,
she knows my
okay?
family has money, and she knows I don't work.
I don't care about money, Your Honor.
Right?
I growing up, I did not have a father, and I did not want my daughter growing up without a father. It hurts me to know that she does not have him around. He says he's the father. He even has her name tattooed on his arm.
Hold on a minute. So, Carbajal was wholly convinced that Aliana was his daughter, right? But then it took a single photo, a picture of some random guy his sister's friend thought resembled the baby, for him to start questioning his paternity. That's unbelievable. Even Judge Lake was shocked to hear this.
Okay, so all you got is a picture on a cell phone and you go, oh, this guy looks just like my niece. I don't think my brother's the father. What other doubt do you have? Did you witness? Did you hear about her sleeping with other people?
My family was, when they were born, they didn't look nothing like us. My mom and my dad were saying
Your daughter did look
that
like you.
they had nothing related to us.
Looks like Mama Lopez is ready to defend her daughter. She jumped in to speak as soon as the Carbajals made their accusations. Judge Lauren even had to intervene and seat Mama Lopez next to her daughter so she could talk. What will Mama Lopez say?
That you'd like to add? They're saying they were at the hospital. You say they weren't?
They were at the hospital after they were born. I was there when Aliana was born, when she was being pulled out of my daughter. Second time around, he wasn't there either for the Noah's birth. I was there for Noah's birth. I was there for both babies.
Why could I be?
Why is it? Because you were never
I was gonna go.
You changed your phone number.
Mama Lopez might be onto something with her picture theory. After all, the Carbajal sister relied on a photo herself to rule out her brother as the father. Now the tables are turned, and Carbajal is using a physical feature, Noah's cleft lip, which, according to him, isn't present in his supposed family, to argue against paternity.
Why was he born with a cleft lip? Why was he born with a cleft lip?
That has nothing to do with genes from you guys.
My family does not have a history of cleft lip.
It doesn't
Will you
matter.
Whether it's my mom or my dad's side.
So you have an issue regarding the fact that he has a cleft lip. You say no one in your family's ever been born with that. So you believe it's not yours.
Everything this woman says hurts her case the more. New evidence? I'm not surprised. The judge even brought up the Carbajal's DNA test again. Let's see what that's about.
Ms. Lopez, you say Mr. Carbajal perpetrated a DNA testing scam.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that he could get out of taking care of the kid.
He did a paternity test that he bought from the store. I did not know about it until he gave me the results that came back.
Here we go again. More pointless arguments. Judge Lauren, hoping to avoid further drama, quickly moved on to examine Carbajal's over-the-counter DNA evidence.
So here are the results of the test, but I don't see any identification, no need for a witness signature, and you say one of the names is spelled wrong?
Yes, my daughter's first name is actually spelled wrong on there.
And so, Ms. Lopez, you're saying that this test is fraudulent?
Yes, I was not there to witness it.
The initial DNA test wasn't reliable and was discarded. Now, to determine whether Carbajal is the father, we need a new, accurate DNA test. Time to get the real DNA results.
Mr. Carbajal, you are not her father. Okay, now we have the answers for Aliana. We still have to get Noah's.
My mom wouldn't have spent so much money on those tests to be swabbing other people.
We spend a lot of money to do those tests.
What a disappointment. Instead of waiting patiently for all the results to be presented, everyone just started arguing again. This prompted Judge Lauren to reprimand them for their childish behavior.
We have the results now from a laboratory-conducted DNA test, and you sitting up there still arguing about a home DNA test. Now I know you all don't have no sense. You're just looking for something to argue about. You're just looking for something to say.
The judge wasn't finished lashing out at Lopez. It's understandable why she was so upset with her. Lopez's testimony made the Carbajals look like the bad guys when she was the deceitful one.
Mr. Carbajal, you are not Noah's father.
Thank you, Your Honor. What do you gotta say? What do you gotta say for yourself? Why you been lying to me that they're my kids when they're not?
And you know my mom got really attached to them. You know how much that's gonna hurt my mom?
Yes, I do.
Jason Deggs believed he was Jason's father because Garen told him so. When Jason was 6 months old, Garen admitted Deggs might not be his biological father due to her infidelity, which Deggs already knew about. How did Deggs discover Garen's cheating?
At the time, we were moving out of my best friend's apartment, and it was just about that I got the truck loaded up with everything. And I went upstairs to grab my last box, and my best friend at the time pulled me aside and told me him and my brother had both slept with me.
What?
I was hurt.
They both.
Wow, that's unbelievable. I never would have guessed this would happen. It's crazy that she cheated on her boyfriend with both his brother and his friend. Even the judge was surprised and wanted to know how she ended up in this mess.
Garen, how did you end up with his best friend?
Well, honestly, it just happened. I didn't do it out of spite towards him or anything. It's not because I'm a bad person. At the time, I was lacking affection from him. He was never home. He was always...
I work, Your Honor. I work full time to make sure that her nails and her hair get done.
After he would get off work, he never came home.
This is a disaster. Not only did she cheat, but she showed no regret. Apparently, Deggs cheated too, making things even in her mind. Afterward, they even had a baby together, with Jason by her side the whole time.
Yes, he was there.
I cut the cord. I've been there since day one, taking care of this baby and this woman. I was there. And then she has the nerve to wait.
Mr. Deggs, you thought this child was yours.
Something.
Yes, Your Honor, I sure did.
No doubts in your mind. You're going on about your life.
Ready to get my family established.
Judge Lauren dropped the truth bomb. The courtroom tension didn't ease, though. Garen and Deggs kept arguing about who the worst parent was, and things took a turn when Deggs' ex, Marshall, stepped up to the box. She firmly declared that Deggs absolutely takes better care of their son, Jason, than Garen ever could.
And I couldn't do that to Jason.
Why don't you tell the truth?
So basically, you're here today because you feel as if Jason, Mr. Deggs, is a better parent than Ms. Garen.
100%. Oh my God. 100%.
Thank you. You may be seated. Ms. Garen, this is complicated because you have a new boyfriend and you say he's also stepped up.
Felton, Garen's boyfriend, naturally took on the role of Jason's father figure. He insists he isn't replacing Deggs as Jason's biological father, but does his best to support Jason. Garen has grown accepting of this, as she hopes Deggs isn't Jason's biological father.
No, I do not want Jason to be the father because every weekend it's drama. It's another girl.
Mr. Diggs, what do you want from today?
I want to be in Jason's life. I love Jason.
That's why
with
he's
all my
called us
heart and
for the
soul.
And if he is your son, are you willing to step up?
The wait is over. It's time for the big reveal. Let's see how that goes, shall we? Did anyone else catch what that woman just said? Unbelievable. After all they've been through, that's her response to the revelation? This is unbelievable. Even Judge Lake seems stunned.
Taking care of a 3-year-old child.
I am disgusted that you would perpetrate this lie on this man during your entire pregnancy up through a delivery room, let him cut the cord on a baby I know you know good and well.
But the judge wasn't even close to finished. She unleashed a verbal beatdown on Garen. Did this shame Garen into an apology? Absolutely not. Not even a crumb of remorse for Deggs. Instead, she had the nerve to do this.
Still trying to be involved with me and also being...
Oh,
yes,
I should have known it was gonna be about you.
It's not about me.
Now, you're standing here and the only one emotional on the brink of tears is him.
Thomas and Nelson have been together for 6 years and have 5 children. However, Nelson now questions whether he's the biological father of their youngest child, Jakai. Thomas believes Nelson's recent marriage to someone else might be the reason behind his doubts.
I believe Mr. Nelson is denying your baby.
The only thing that I can think of is because he recently got married.
Is that true, Mr. Nelson?
No, it's not, Your Honor. It was good in the beginning when we first started having children. And then after that, it's like me and her started like both doing our own little thing.
Nelson doubts their son's paternity, accusing Thomas of having had affairs before their child's birth. However, Thomas denies this. It's hard to imagine how they reached this point after claiming to be a happy and loving couple.
Our relationship, it was good. That was my best friend. We did everything together.
Take your time. I know it's hard. You have...
Your Honor, we was both young at the time, and we was both new to the whole parent thing. After that, we started getting, we done got older and grew, and it's like we grew apart away from each other. And I still, even while I'm married, I still be trying to keep.
Despite a story that painted them as a couple who could overcome any obstacle, their relationship crumbled due to infidelity. Nelson's betrayal came first, followed by Thomas's. From what Judge Lauren pointed out, when Nelson discovered Thomas's cheating, their love story took a sharp turn for the worse.
So wait a minute, you had 4 children together and then you find out Miss Thomas is with another guy?
Yes, that's
How did you find that out?
The dude picture was popping up on her phone.
It didn't start like that. He decided to leave because at that time we did grow apart.
I used to find stuff on her purse and everything. She'd be like, I'm going to work today.
It's heartbreaking. After 5 years and 4 kids together, Thomas and Nelson's relationship seems to be falling apart. Things took a turn for the worse when Nelson noticed signs that Thomas might be pregnant during a rough patch in their relationship. However, a pregnancy test came back negative, leaving them in a confusing and possibly strained situation.
And Your Honor, that same day he said that, we walked to the store and I took 2 pregnancy tests in front of him, and then they ended up negative. So I was not pregnant. I also had an app on my phone tracking my periods when I'm ovulating, and I have it right here.
Jerome, let me see that evidence.
Currently, it remains unclear how Thomas's sexual relationship with another man proves he could potentially be the father. Thomas's cycle calendar strongly suggests Nelson is the likely father. However, Nelson denies even remembering being intimate with Thomas on the day she alleges it occurred.
When I got back from North Carolina, I had went through her phone. She was like, every time I had sex with him, and this is after you left, I started having sex with this guy. So I was like, all right. So then I went back further in her calendar. I'm like, so what's these days for? She was like, because I said, so we was together then when you was doing it. She was like, okay, so well, I had a slip up.
Wow. Things just got even wilder. Nelson's wife, Courtney, is the woman he cheated on Thomas with when they were dating. And get this, Nelson is apparently still seeing Thomas even though he's married to Courtney. This situation is a total mess.
Mind you, he was cheating on me with her. I didn't know about her until I found out she was calling him through Facebook. And he was trying to lie then because we were still messing around even when he was with her.
See, I wish I had an old phone. I could show you.
I have text messages also that we still mess around still to this day.
Poor Courtney. She got dragged into their mess and ended up getting mixed in this terrible situation. Ever since she met Nelson, Courtney believed she had a wonderful husband. However, it turned out he was cheating on her with his ex, the one with whom he has 4 children. Now, in court, she's forced to reveal the details of this betrayal.
The video is dated April 3rd, which would have been, I guess, the first day or so that she had showed up in Greensboro. All I know is I saw her demeanor when she came around, and she was kind of like high-stepping. I'm like, okay, this is a person that's supposedly supposed to be so hurt. Like, why is she grinning? And then I saw his demeanor, and he looked guilty.
It is evident that this man has managed to manipulate these women, believing he can maintain relationships with both. However, it has not yet dawned on Thomas and Courtney that Nelson has been toying with them all this while. In fact, Thomas is convinced that Nelson will come back to her and their children, while Courtney sees their encounter as a one-time event. It got worse that these two started to quarrel over the man who had caused them both significant pain.
From wifey to side chick.
No, I'm not nobody's side chick because your husband is the one that tells me he wants to leave.
But that makes you a side chick.
No,
that
it
makes you a
doesn't.
side chick. We're
No, it does
legally
not.
married.
Wait a minute. No, it does not. No, it does not.
Listen.
He told me he married you out of spite.
The audacity. Can you believe it? 2 grown women, supposedly with some semblance of sense, throwing all decorum to the wind. Their actions are a slap in the face of decency. It's enough to make your blood pressure rise. And if even a fraction of this mess is causing this much irritation in us, mere observers, just imagine the inferno of frustration raging within Judge Lauren after witnessing this shameless display.
He's sleeping with both of y'all, okay? So, look, neither one of you are on a step higher than the other. Because you may now be his wife, but that's the mother of all his children and maybe another one. You all both look miserable. And I can see the look on your face, Mr. Nelson. You decided in your mind that it's possible for you to have both of these women.
Whew, that was very much needed. Perhaps it will serve as a wake-up call, a harsh reality check for Thomas, particularly for Courtney, to see the web of lies Nelson has spun around them. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. As the drama unfolds, Nelson's deceit unravels further with each passing moment. He paints a picture of marital bliss, claiming he and Courtney have forgiven each other's transgressions. At this point, the judge just wants to know what their plans are now.
What are you hoping for now? What do you want out of this?
I want him to leave me alone, honest. If he's gonna make his marriage work, let your marriage work. I'll try to move forward with my life. He texts me, he calls me and tells me how much he misses me and wants to be with me. It's not the other way around, and I have messages.
Wow, can you believe it? Courtney was devastated after hearing that, convinced her husband was over Thomas for good. However, it seems neither woman had learned their lesson as they erupted into another fiery argument. This time, Judge Lauren had enough and unleashed a barrage of harsh truths on them both.
Wait. Honestly, I don't feel no type of way.
Yes, you do.
If you're gonna make your marriage work, leave me alone.
Stop. There's no sense in standing here when the woman's just trying to acknowledge that both of you are in an emotional battle over a man who's taking advantage of both of you, and then you sit up and say you don't feel some kind of way.
This man has severely mistreated these women. Emotions have run high between them, and words have been exchanged, but Nelson remains indifferent to it all. That should speak volumes to them. Anyway, the main focus of the court session is to determine if Nelson is Jakai's biological father. We'll see how that unfolds shortly.
Mr. Nelson, you are the father. It's number 5.
I met him and he already had, 4 kids with her. So what's one more?
I'll tell you what one more is. One more means this isn't over. This child deserves to know his father.
In this episode, here's the main point. Brittany Brewington asserts that Lee, the father of her son Giovanni, is denying paternity to avoid paying child support. Lee, on the other hand, denies being Giovanni's father, accusing Brittany of using him for money. How will Brittany prove her claim?
Yes, Your Honor. I am without a doubt 100% certain that he is my son's father. Not only was I so when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't think it was going to be a shock or a surprise.
The biological father of Giovanni.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
I want to know why you have doubt.
At the time that Gio was conceived.
Wow, that's weird. It seems one person thought they were working on a reconciliation while the other was completely clueless. Major miscommunication. But hey, whether Lee knew or not wasn't Brittany's concern. Her focus was on presenting her evidence about paternity to the court.
Your Honor, I was living with him. We were living in the same household, in the same bed.
Were you living in the same house?
Around the time, yes.
But you weren't together.
Exactly.
So were you sharing a bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And fluid. Clearly. Yeah, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm so sorry.
Brittany refuses to yield, and Lee vehemently denies her claims of intimacy. While they were simply roommates in his eyes, Brittany insists otherwise. The judge asks for a clearer explanation of the timeline surrounding the alleged pregnancy. We wait to hear her side of the story.
Pregnant. I actually went to the doctor to just re-up on my birth control. They said, oh, you actually missed your last shot. So I went ahead, they did a pregnancy test. It came up positive. Made me take all of them. They were all positive. And he was like, well, that's not my baby because we didn't have sex.
Oh no, it looks like Lee messed up the dates. This makes Brittany's accusation even more suspicious. Could he really not be the father, or is he just trying to dodge child support payments? But hold on, it gets worse. Take a look at this.
Pregnancy. As you prepare for the birth of Giovanni, was Mr. Lee present?
No. He was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fast food. Everybody was rubbing, my friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her, she's just fat. The entire time. I'm talking about, I'm going into labor. He's like, no, you're not.
I am just as shocked as the judge right now. If I had ever believed Lee's story, I definitely don't anymore. But things don't even get settled there. It keeps getting worse. Despite claiming Brittany was just overweight, Lee still signed Giovanni's birth certificate and even gave him his full legal name. Why did he do all of that if he truly stands on all he has said previously? I don't know, but we're about to find out.
Like, we already had a previous child. I'm gonna be in this child life regardless because
You're making an execution of a birth certificate sound like consolation prize or a consolation. Well, since I'm gonna do this, I might as well.
or else I wouldn't have signed it if I wasn't.
So you weren't aware of the law.
Ops, Brittany appeared to be winning the argument, with Lee making constant mistakes. All of this just highlights the importance of understanding the law before taking actions that could have legal consequences. I'm pretty sure Lee has learned his lesson. Lee further claimed his doubts about Giovanni stemmed from information he received from Brittany's friend. The specifics of that information remain a mystery for now, but we will find out shortly.
Why did the friend tell you, Mr. Lee?
She told me that she actually is friends with the dude who is the father and that he's trying to get in contact with Brittany, but she keeps ignoring him and wants me to be the dad since I'm there already. But for me, it didn't make a change. It was just more verification for me, but it didn't change nothing. It wouldn't take me off child support. It wouldn't change the situation.
Brittany's comment is definitely fishy. Their constant bickering is getting old. Even the judge is over it. But hey, the DNA results are finally here. It is time to expose the liar and see who has been honest all along. Buckle up. This is going to be good.
In the case of Brewington versus Lee, when it comes to 3-year-old Giovanni Lee, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Lee's revelation as not Giovanni's father is a shocking twist. Talk about a bombshell. It seems Brittany never considered this possibility either, and the revelation clearly stunned her. This whole situation is wild. Even I, along with everyone in the courtroom, was surprised by this turn of events.
It's all good.
This is 3 years.
I am so sorry.
Do you know who his biological father?
I have an idea.
You just have an idea.
I have an idea.
I want you to bring him to this courtroom, and I want you to submit to this DNA testing again.
In this episode, accusations fly as Nazarene accuses her ex-boyfriend, Rami, of being a deadbeat dad absent from their children's lives. She demands he step up, while Rami blames her difficult personality. After reading their statements, the judge asks Nazarene when things got terrible between them. Let's hear her response.
Okay, our relationship began to sour when I became pregnant, and
things had soured long before that. She's not the most easy person to deal with. There are definitely signs that were before she got pregnant.
When you say she's not the easiest person to get along with, what do you mean specifically?
Complete irrationality.
Chile, I can already tell that this is going to be one very long episode. Nazarene claims that she had tried to reconcile things with Rami, but it didn't work out. She continues to lament about Rami's shortcomings and the many things he did that pissed her off.
this day he's not kept a job. This man has spent 17 and 15, almost 16 years ignoring his children while trying to pursue a rap career. Okay, that's the bottom line. Not trying to pursue his GED, not trying to get a high school diploma. 90 hours, 90 units through college, raising 3 children.
The judge asks Rami whether he has ever provided for his family at any point in his life, and here is what he had to say.
I haven't sent a check every 2 weeks. No, I have. But when I've had a job,
every once in a while he sent $100. Yes, absolutely. Over this past 17, 16 years, he paid child support when he was with his ex-second wife.
Okay,
baby
so
mama.
being a father goes beyond just financial support. You know that. How about the emotional support?
Wow, during that period of time, she would have had her baby, and Rami would have lost almost 2 years of his baby's life. Anyway, Rami ignored every other thing Nazarene said and focused on explaining the broken car incident.
I was asked to bring the car because she had Messiah with her. Can you bring the car to Tarzan from Los Angeles? I tell her no problem. I would love to do that for you. So, actually, what's funny is I'll tell you this story because it's more recent. I have a list.
Tell me
I have a list of text messages. Just to get
Damn, Nazarene is beyond pissed. But did Rami care to take a step back and acknowledge all that? Not one bit. Instead, he continued with the story of what happened with Nazarene during the time of his brother's son's death.
that it's nice to know that we care about the dead more than the living.
Yeah, let the dead.
And
Now, are these the
basically-
text messages that you submitted to the court? Can you read them to me?
All right.
And I mean every last one of them.
We are sure happy to know your sorry, trifling family cares more about the dead than the living.
Nazarene crossed a boundary with this. Even the judge was shocked by all the things she heard and could not continue with the session without addressing it.
Nazarene, and look, take this from me because I mean it earnest. If you want this man to be involved in his kid's life, you've got to sometime, at least sometime, present yourself as a person that somebody would want to be around. Okay?
And I agree with Judge Lakey 100%. It's understandable that Rami's absenteeism hurts Nazarini. However, that's just too much bitterness coming from here. Meanwhile, the judge points out Rami's sarcastic poise and relaxed state towards a serious matter that relates to his own children.
Stand here. There's a little smirk and the body language is a little sarcastic. I'm having trouble trying to digest why you're so cavalier as we speak about little people that you have made.
Oh, I've never tried to act like I was anything other than what I am.
Do you think Rami's words make sense? Now he is back to the whole car issue, which, at this point, I just want him to tell the story and get over with. Apparently, the judge wants that too.
I take the car out there. When I drop it off,
Why did you
she
get the car?
She
Ms.
decides
Nazarene,
to.
if I don't find out what's wrong with this car, too, I cannot help get this thing better, okay? Where
It's
did
not
the
about
car
the
go?
car. It's not about the car at
Tell
all.
me what happened.
So when I take the car there,
Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I'm not surprised because Nazarene's behavior screams it. However, she denies Rami's accusations and brings up the whole car story again. At this point, Judge Lake had enough of this car.
Oh gosh, is this car again?
I'm not talking about the car. The point of the fact is when I went out there, she beat me up and held me hostage.
He knows $500 from me, and we almost died in the car.
Anymore, I get from you though is part of what you said today is true. She's difficult, but I'm a mother. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Well, the judge didn't lie. She asked Nazarene whether she had tried to put her differences with Rami aside so her children could get along with him. Here is what she said.
I heard from my children. He just, in my opinion, doesn't feel like this man loves or cares for him. He refuses to work. She's embarrassed that he's a wannabe rapper, almost 40. Him and I having a friendship, never gonna happen because he's a liar, he's a manipulator, and he thought that he was gonna come.
My goodness, Nazarene could keep going if the judge didn't stop her. It is clear that she has a beef with Rami that's running deep into her system. And like the judge said, it'll take more than one court session to settle all that. In the meantime, let's hear Judge Lake's ruling on this case.
To consider along with your kids if they will do it. Family counseling in this court will provide the resource because my concern is that out of love and protection for your kids.
Harrison is in court challenging his wife Grant for paternity fraud. He also wants his name removed from Alea Harrison's paternity, claiming he signed it under false pretenses. Grant, however, insists she never lied to Harrison about being Alea's father, though she admits to lying about other things. Let's begin by understanding why Harrison is suing Grant for fraud.
I signed my acknowledgement paternity for my daughter, and I've done everything for her since the day she's been born. I've had several people come to me through Facebook and through text messaging on my phone. You know, Miss Grant is saying she is not your daughter.
It's assertion on?
Well,
we're still in the early stages of this session, and there's already so much drama. Moving on, Harrison claimed that Grant had an affair for a good 15 years. How is this possible when they have only been together for 8 years? I don't know, but we're about to find out.
I've only been with her for 8. So this goes way before we were ever even together in the first place. So after 8 years with her and a previous child before the one in question, we have already had a child together. So she's been cheating on me literally the entire 8-year span that we were together, including the time.
The judge asked Grant to tell the court who this person was that she was willing to lose her relationship with Harrison. Let's hear what she had to say about it.
He helped me with her. He helped me financially. He has bought cars. He has paid rent. He has paid bills. Okay. When I met Mr. Harrison and I told my friend, I'm in love and we're going to have a baby. And he wished me the best. He said, I'm going to bow out gracefully. I know you'd like to get married. And, you know, that wasn't his intention for me.
So she says. But Harrison counters her testimony. While she asserted that she was never sexually intimate with the other guy when she was with Harrison, the latter claimed that she was throughout their 8-year relationship. The judge had enough of this and proceeded to the matter at hand. Harrison sue.
You.
Yes, ma'am.
For paternity.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he says he signed the acknowledgement of paternity under because he feels like you misled him, lied.
Yes, but I didn't lie about the paternity. I lied about whether or not I was seeing somebody, but like I said, the person wasn't even in our area at the time.
In response to Harrison's words, Grant stated that she had come clean to Harrison and gave him the option to either stay or leave, to which he affirmed that she did. Guys, you wouldn't believe the next thing that happened. Take a look at this.
I told her time and time again, I said, I don't care how bad at times our relationship is. Let's wait until the kids get older so that they can understand a little bit better than dad just leaving at 4 and 7 years old. Thing is, I love her to death. She's my best friend. Hours straight with her and never.
Of people out.
I don't even have words for these two. Harrison told the court that despite all the things Grant had done to hurt him, including breaking up with him and leaving with the kids while he had just gotten surgery, he still loved and wanted to be with her. However, Grant couldn't stand there and take all the blame as she told the court the details about Harrison's infidelity.
Pro wrestler. He cheated on me with someone who they call ring rats. They call them ring rats for a reason, Your Honor.
Okay. The relationship is definitely torn.
Yes.
In turmoil.
And now I was ready to lay it all out on the line.
And now the paternity, though, of this beautiful young child, this is your child when you knew?
Honestly, I'm as confused as Judge Lake, but Grant did us the favor of explaining what she meant to us.
She could sit there and name the day of conception.
I can.
And I don't see how.
Hold on. Let me. I have a conception calculator here. I want to understand this. So, what day was Aaliyah born? 2010. If her birth date's September 15th, the dates of conception would be somewhere between December 19th to December 27th.
Oh, it's about to go down. We're going to find out if what Grant says about Alea's birth is true.
It's here, snowfall, drifts several feet deep.
It was a bad year.
And is the weather that Miss Grant is describing is in fact true, that it was very snowy weather, and her recollection is this gentleman that she has had this 15-year-long affair.
Nice speech. Grant seems ready to admit to all her wrongdoings and move past this for her kids. But does Harrison want the same?
Lies. I just don't think I could bring myself to.
There is a difference as you talk about a legal cause for paternity fraud. Not wanting to tell my partner, my mate, that I've also had an affair, to purposefully.
I think knowing what the DNA test results say would ease the tension to some extent. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now.
Mr. Harrison, you are her father.
I told you. I feel vindicated, Your Honor. Absolutely. I may have lied about my affair, but I know who the father of my child is.
Harvey wants the court to reimburse him for baby supplies he bought for his ex-girlfriend's child, Noelani, because he doubts he's the father and does not want to raise another man's child. Miss Jett, the mother, insists Noelani is Harvey's and demands a paternity test. How did these two even start a relationship?
To this relationship, you met on a dating site.
I met her on a dating site, and she got pregnant 2 weeks after us having sex. She got pregnant.
Your Honor, that's a lie. In July, I started dating Harvey. Every day, I actually moved with Harvey in July.
Things are messy right from the start. Jett leaves Harvey after discovering his infidelity, but that's just the beginning of the drama.
Show you that I have bought everything she said on this, everything she demanded
I
me.
asked him months
I have evidence right here.
I'd like to see that evidence.
She wrote me on Facebook demanding
that
I buy. I said, okay, Your Honor, I have the receipt and it might be the date on there.
Jett seems claims to have made some requests of Harvey during their separation, although she denies it. Meanwhile, Harvey has evidence of her demands. Even after Harvey presented undeniable evidence to the judge, Jet continued to deny the demanded purchases. But then, to everyone's surprise, Harvey revealed another piece of proof, a receipt for everything she had claimed he didn't buy.
A receipt, and I spent
That I
close to
see.
$500 on everything.
A pack and play,
Close to what you get.
a pump, bottle scrubber, bedtime wash.
He did not.
He did.
No, don't act like you did.
Get to that point.
Harvey is furious. He's doing his part, but Jet's not. Tagging someone random in their baby pic? That is wild. Jet denies the accusation, but yet again, Harvey has proof.
And that right there where the arrow is, that's the dude name who she tagged in the picture.
Okay, and I have...
Why would you tag another man's name on your baby's
I
photo?
did not tag at all. And I actually have proof that I actually wrote the dude and I say, hey, my daughter's dad thinks that you're her father because...
Uh-oh, couple drama alert. Now the fight is about Harvey claiming he gave Jet extra cash besides baby stuff. The problem is that he only has a single $100 receipt for proof. It looks like he's in hot soup this time.
You gave her cash multiple times, but you just have a receipt for one money order?
Yes, ma'am.
No, Your
Any
Honor.
other? So he hasn't given you money multiple times.
He has not.
But he has given you this $100.
Yes, he has.
Only have evidence for that. So she's gonna say, yeah, he gave it, she got to.
Finances are a drag, but guess what? Just like Harvey has proof, Jet isn't playing around either. She's got a chart showing all the baby expenses she has covered. Apparently, the $500 Harvey is after is a tiny fraction of what she has already spent. Looks like there is more to this story.
What he's given you is merely a drop in the bucket.
Yes, it's really nothing.
And these are your real expenses.
The feeding alone, the state provide all that. I ain't trying to make her look bad.
Okay, I have to get help.
I can see your diagram.
The judge was at their wits' end. Next up, Harvey's witness, Miss Highsmith, took the stand. In her opinion, baby Nolani looked nothing like Harvey's family, not even sharing basic features like head shape or hair color.
Everybody looks like the Harveys or the Highsmiths. Baby has no genes of us at all. Head shape or
like
anything.
me, I have strong genes.
But that's my opinion.
So it's your contention that your family genes are strong.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
the members of the family. And when
Yes,
you look
ma'am.
at this, Ms. Jet's mother.
Yes.
Please explain to the court the knowledge you have.
Jet's mom went ballistic on Harvey, and everyone's chiming in, but it's only confusing things further. Judge Lauren tried to cut to the chase as she asked Harvey about the reason he doubts Noelani is his. But his explanation fell flat, and it confused the judge further.
The reason why I stopped, okay.
Facebook tag, I got that.
Okay, the Facebook tag and
What
multiple
else?
dude. That's my reason.
Your Honor.
Because multiple dude, the multiple dudes, she got pregnant fast, and I would do everything.
This whole thing has been a mess, but the judge is right. Let's just get the DNA results and put this drama to rest.
Mr. Harvey, you are not her father.
That's fine. That's fine.
Did you see Jet's attitude? It's a sign of all the nonsense she's about to spout. You have to see this.
Cause I was in a relationship before I met him. I was in a relationship previous.
Oh, now you in a relationship?
Miss Jet, you so diplomatic now. Probably about 30 minutes of you taking this young man, Mr. Harvey. She sent you an itemized list of items.
In desperate need of child support, Miss Chappelle stepped up in the court suing Mr. Todd. She claimed that the defendant was the father of her baby girl, and his girlfriend was manipulating him for denial. Meanwhile, the man alleged that the woman was just pinning her child on him to get back at him.
Mr. Todd, you state there's no chance that the child in question is your daughter. You say Miss Chappelle will stop at nothing to get you back, even if it means pinning a child on you that isn't yours.
True, Your Honor.
Initially, the plaintiff claimed that the alleged father's negligence made her lose her job. She claimed that the man had never taken care of the baby, so she had to pay for that. But the man denied it, and the awful war of words blurted out like this.
You two were in a sexual relationship.
Yes.
It wasn't no relationship.
It wasn't a relationship.
No.
You were just having sex.
Just having sex.
If you were having sex and she got pregnant, were you using protection every time?
No.
at
the time when we met, I was pregnant.
But at
we
the-
never used. When
we met, she was pregnant.
Wow, that was just insane! Mr. Todd further claimed that baby mama was sleeping with another man as she conceived the baby, which inflamed his doubts. But it turned out that the man was still beating the girl. because besides his main girl, he had several side chicks.
She was messing around with other guys, and by me being young and just doing crazy stuff, I go and mess with her at the same time too. So she was messing with men all at one time. But this one never my girl. I was in a relationship with someone, and she was messing around too. She was having sex with other. I had a girl.
Miss Chappelle denied all the claims. She alleged that she was not messing around with any other dude besides the man standing at the podium. And this time, the man's girlfriend could not hold herself back. So she jumped in, and they started squabbling like this.
Do you admit that you were having sex with other people in addition to Mr. Todd during the window of conception?
No, Your Honor.
She a liar.
She was not even in the picture, Your Honor, so she has nothing to do with this. We was
what
together
picture that
here.
was?
2011, I was pregnant when baby was already here when they met, Your Honor.
All right.
However, things took a worse turn when Miss Collins came into the picture. Further, it slipped that Miss Chappelle stole the phone and then took revenge for cheating by breaking their car windows. And to support her claims, the co-defendant brought evidence.
I had proof that she bust out my windows on my car. She ran. I have
she came to
a
where
receipt.
she was.
I have proof, and I have a police report that she bust my windows out on my car.
Do you have that evidence here today?
I do, ma'am.
This is an incident report which says there was damage to private property, vehicle.
And I do have the receipt too, Your Honor.
Further, it was revealed that baby mama was in miserable condition, so the defendants decided to take her to their house. But the bummer was the plaintiff turned her eyes after that and made other people take care of her baby while she was out having sexual intercourse with different men.
Was taking the baby when she's out having sex with different guys, coming in different times of night.
Okay, and so you feel like you moved her in and then she was avoiding getting the DNA test?
She doesn't look like Mr. Todd, and my cousin came and told me, she was saying it could be someone else's baby.
Oh my, how could people be so annoying? Like, if you've embraced the baby, then what would be the point of denial? Mommy disclosed that when the baby was born, he came with his whole family and complimented the baby. But the man cunningly changed his statement and asserted that even the doctor said to him that the baby was not his.
I told him that I was pregnant, and he was like, oh, this your third child, whatever. Well, he was like, our child would be the prettiest child. We're gonna have our baby, and we came to agreement that he would be there for her. And when I had her at the hospital, him, his brothers, all of them came
to the hospital.
Did you go to the hospital, Mr. Todd?
Yes, I went to the hospital, yes.
And now it was time to listen to Big Mama. She testified that the man was swinging in between different women without protection. This triggered Judge Lake about the mess they had created, so she articulated the facts like this.
When these two started messing around, he was on his first baby mama. That's who he was messing with. At the time when he was messing with my daughter.
It's like y'all playing tic-tac-toe or something.
Yeah,
I mean, you just here, there, everywhere.
But this is his baby, he know it.
This sexual activity with no protection.
A goofy blame game was going on in the court, and no one was ready to drop their stupid allegations. But as you know, it's Judge Lake's court, and no one could bamboozle her. So she thrashed the man like this.
She don't want to mess with her other baby dad and all the rest of them. She want to come to me and mess with me.
Well, you want to mess with her too.
But all the other men mess with her.
Thank you. He messed with her.
Look.
The alleged father and baby mama had intoxicated the situation instead of resolving the friction. But it was evident that both needed DNA results badly for their baby and their relationship. So, let's see those results.
Mr. Todd, you are not the father. Oh. And you're smiling, Miss Chappelle?
Yes, because at the end of the day,
you need to find
this is his child.
with
that DNA say. I ain't having sex with no one else you want. I know this only man I was messing with at the time.
Yep, I know it.
Pernicious rumors warned Mr. Green about not being the father of his wife's baby. He dragged his spouse into the court, claiming she was amphiphilic and had messed with other people, which knocked him out of this paternity run. Meanwhile, the defendant was determined to prove him wrong.
Mr. Green, you claim that the defendant repeatedly cheated on you during your marriage with both men and women. You state you have every reason to doubt that you are one-year-old Keegan's biological father because of Mrs. Green's sexual track record.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you've petitioned the court for a paternity test.
Yes, ma'am.
The alleged father's doubts regarding the baby's paternity flared up when he started to behave differently. He claimed that he never knew where his wife was or what she was up to. She never bothered to inform him, but the mommy claimed that the plaintiff abandoned her and the child. That's why she stepped back.
She'd tell me she going to the store for like an hour. She'd be gone for like 2 or 3 hours, then get back. I asked her where she been. Like she just been to her girlfriend's house. To her girlfriend's house can mean really her boyfriend's house or both. Like who knows, you know what I mean?
What if the store was just crowded?
I don't think Burger King at 10 o'clock at night is crowded until like 1 in the morning. So this is what made me like not want to be with her.
It slipped that the potential father moved to another city with another woman. But to defend himself, he claimed that when they broke up, the baby mama gave birth to another man's child, which tickled Judge Lake like this.
Okay, and then there was another time where, like, I flew back from Atlanta. Like, we said we was gonna get it together. You know what I'm saying? I flew back from Atlanta, came in the house, we're chilling.
With another woman in Atlanta. Tell the whole story.
We was broken up. You already had another child by somebody else.
Okay.
So what you mean?
Yes, ma'am, I did. And he would have also had another child during that point. If
Allegedly.
still
She
another
said,
child.
That was allegedly. That wasn't mine. That
there
allegedly.
is still another child
What
that
kind
is
of
possibly
marriage is
his.
this?
Further, the man revealed that he found the wrappers of the condom, which made him certain that his girlfriend had brought another man into the picture. But the woman stated that she had never cheated on him, and the other guy came when Mr. Green left for his baby mama.
Like one time I came home or whatever from being like out or whatever, out of town or whatever I came, it was kind of wrapping on the
How
floor.
long were you out of town for? Where were you at when you were out of town?
I was in Atlanta.
Right, in Atlanta, right.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta.
With who?
Were you in Atlanta with your son's mother, or were you in Atlanta visiting your son? There's a difference.
However, the baby mama claimed that she had not dragged anyone into her marriage, and at the time she conceived the baby, she was intimate with the potential father only. But the man denied her testimony, over which she reacted this way.
I had not been with anyone during the time that this child was conceived besides
Oh, really?
him.
Somebody wasn't calling your phone?
So,
old boy wasn't keep calling your phone?
do you get pregnant through the phone?
You are certain
Yes,
that
ma'am.
during that time, even though you'd had sex with other men and women, during this time when this child was conceived, you were only sleeping with your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
The man claimed that people around town were sending him red flags due to his wife swindling. So his cousins put on their detective hats and found out that his wife had spent a significant amount of time in the men's barber shop.
My cousin them telling me that she be on the barbershops all the time, messing with this one, messing with that one. Like,
Now,
please.
all of this was happening during the time the baby was conceived?
Yeah, this is all around the same time, yes.
Together.
Or whatever, together. Yeah, we was partying,
Right.
having a good time together. But at the end of the day, I was about you, and that was that. You was about everything else. I didn't want none of that.
The plaintiff alleged that his wifey had made him fall from grace, as she brought another woman for her husband to fulfill his desires. Oh gosh, this was hard to comprehend. What woman on earth asks her husband to bang another woman? That's gross.
That was my first like sexual experience with 2 females and all that. She asked for all of that.
He was there,
that was her
though.
people's.
He
that
was
was
there.
her girl. Who does that?
He was
You know, what
there.
woman brings another woman into the situation, into the equation?
So
That's that
now
she wanted.
you two,
And I
as a
didn't even like
married
the, I didn't even
couple,
like the female. Like, I
during
didn't even
the
like the
time-
Oh, he didn't like that female,
Yeah.
but he liked
You don't have to
Hold
advocate.
on, let's
like,
get some
word.
order. Hold on 1 second.
Nonetheless, the man claimed that his wife brought another into their marriage, which made him doubt the baby's paternity. But sir, no woman can father a child. Judge Lake reminded him of that too. And it turned out that the baby mama told herself that she was messing with another dude.
During this time, you've heard rumors that she's sleeping around with other
It was
people.
a female. She actually brought a female into the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like she brought.
Well, she's not gonna get pregnant by a woman. I hate to break that to you. We need to understand what men have you heard?
No.
Because a female cannot impregnate anybody, and this is paternity court, so we need somebody to be a father.
However, Miss Green testified that her spouse was just making things up. Yet she confessed about having a relationship with another. She claimed that the potential father had double standards, so he kept another going on. and even his claims sounded fishy. So Judge Lake hopped into it like this.
He has double standards. Everything's cool as long as it's going his way.
Why are you lying?
But
You told me that. You told me that you was pregnant. You told me that you might be pregnant. Like, before you told me you might be pregnant by somebody else. You told me that.
Really?
Before I even flew back there. Yes, you did.
Okay.
You told me that.
You just now saying that she told you that she may be pregnant before you ever flew back from Atlanta?
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, to understand this paternity puzzle, Judge Lauren Lake summoned the witness. He claimed that baby mama turned up and brought numerous men into her bed. This triggered the judge, so she asked for an explanation like this.
They both turned up, but she extra turned up.
I believe I want you to explain to me in respectful language if possible. What turned up means. Enlighten me.
No holds barred. Everything is a go.
Sexually.
Yes.
Understood. Multiple partners.
Vegas in the bedroom.
Next, Mr. Green asserted that the baby's appearance had also pinched him, as the baby did not possess any of his features. He claimed that the woman had dated the typical black man and that he looked more like them. Huh. Man, didn't someone tell you that babies come in all shapes and colors?
The child looks like you?
No, their mouth is open the same with the same dun-dun look on their face. Like, come on now. But my baby don't look like you.
He looks like a typical black male. Like, come on.
Oh, you do too. Imagine that.
Yes, and you've been sleeping with typical black men.
You don't see any resemblance here?
No.
With all the testimony done, it was evident that nonstop bickering and allegations would not help them find the clue they were looking for. And the truth was sealed in the DNA envelope. So to end their paternity dispute, Judge Lake moved towards the results.
Mr. Green, you are the father.
Now turn up to that.
You shouldn't be surprised.
I'm not surprised, are you?
You shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised that I said something.
I don't even care. I don't even care. It's okay. I just need my paperwork.
Every girl grows up looking up to her father, and that was just the case for Miss Others. Growing up, she had a great relationship with her dad, but suddenly things took a pretty bad turn. It all happened when Miss Others' father all of a sudden started denying paternity. Poor Miss Others, just a teenage girl, had to struggle to accept this new reality.
When my daughter was about 2 years old, she and I became intimate again, and she wound up pregnant. So of course I'm being excited. I'm there for her. There's a doorbell, and somebody's at the doorbell. This other gentleman comes in saying, "Where's my baby?" Saying that he was the father, and she's also telling me that I'm the father as well.
Well, Mr. Bell has a lot to say. According to him, in the beginning, he believed that this was his daughter until he found out that the woman he had been involved with hadn't been very honest with him. So he met Miss Others at a McDonald's and gave her an ultimatum. He wanted a DNA test.
He hasn't been there for me.
I've been there for her, and I don't know what she's talking about. I haven't been there for her.
No, you have not.
You admit this McDonald's day happened?
Probably.
Probably.
Can't recall that.
Mr. Bell, if you forget a fact like that, your credibility is shot.
No. That wasn't a topic of conversation when I met her at McDonald's.
Now, Judge Lauren asks Mary, the mother, to step into the court, and she insists that she had always been honest with Mr. Bell. She had already told him that her first child might be another man's, but Mr. Bell claims she kept lying. So, who's being the honest one here? Then, Mr. Bell's mother comes into the picture.
Did you have any doubts at that time?
No doubts at all, Your Honor. No doubt. Only when the baby was born, the little boy.
So you don't doubt her?
I don't doubt
you.
Your
Believe
Honor.
that she's your son's child?
I believe there's a possibility.
A possibility?
Yes.
But you also
because he
believe
was
that
there.
her mother could be lying again?
Yes.
I'm not lying, Your Honor.
Everybody starts arguing and forgets that this is actually about Miss Others, the teenage girl who doesn't know if her father is her father. The judge asks her to share how it felt being at the center of so much chaos, and she says it was incredibly hard.
She came to my job with my grandbaby and asked me for more money. I gave her the money. Her mother calls me and said, "Why did you give her money?"
If you
That's
were
not
sure,
true.
you are lying.
You are lying.
No, all you're doing is being a mama's boy.
It all turns into a big mess, and Mr. Bell even talks about smacking the girl. This man has to be out of his mind. Mr. Bell accuses his daughter of being a liar and a troublemaker. He keeps yelling in court, and after all this trouble, there's really only one way to resolve it.
Mr. Bell, you are not.
I knew it!
Thank you!
I knew it!
I knew it! I told you! He's a liar, no, the liar.
Who the daddy is?
Thank you, Judge. Thank you so much. told you, Tiana. I told you.
So Mr. Kidd has come to the courtroom and is saying that Miss Rawlings manipulated him into thinking he was the father of Nathaniel until another guy came into the picture. He wanted confirmation of what he knows all along, that he is the real father. And Miss Rawlings says Mr. Kidd told her he couldn't even have kids, so he's lying.
Mr. Kidd, you say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, Nathaniel, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family, and you are 100% positive you are her son's father.
So wow, let's begin with the fact that both Mr. Kidd and his mother are fully convinced that Miss Rawlings is a manipulator, and getting a new man made her change her tune really quick. Yet Miss Rawlings says he can't even have kids. Wow, this one will be interesting, but let's see what really happened here, because for now, both sides are confusing me.
When this first started off, she came to me and told me that he was mine. She was sending me letters when I was gone.
And so you were away when she found out she was pregnant?
I was away about a month after. I went away a month after she found out she was pregnant.
Okay.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Miss Rawlings told Mr. Kidd Nathaniel was fully his baby, but Miss Rawlings is saying that another woman was in the picture? I'm so confused here, and I know even Judge Lawrence is confused with these young kids and their weird relationship. What I want to know is how these two got to the point of having a kid together in the first place. Let's see what happens.
What was your relationship with this man like?
We were in a serious relationship, and I was actually at some point, once I left from being around Mr. Kidd, that I was actually staying with him.
So for now, it looks like both were cheating, and Miss Rawlings was involved with some guy named Kevin too. Having kids at such a young age is bound to create a mess like this, and these two have more relationships than I can count. But let's see what happens next, because some things are not adding up for me right now.
Miss Rawlings, that he was Nathaniel's biological father?
No, ma'am.
You never told him that?
No, ma'am.
You just told him you were pregnant, and then somehow he assumed he was the father?
When I found out I was pregnant, Mr. Kidd told me himself that he had some type of rare form blood disease and that me and his child would die.
Oh no! So Mr. Kidd was saying all along he couldn't even have kids, so why is he saying he can now? Something is off here, but Mr. Kidd's mother is trying to clear up the situation, and her explanation is making sense to me. But I still don't know why Mr. Kidd is trying to claim this kid as his then. Let's see what he has to say for himself.
Hold on, no, why am I just now hearing about this? So I contacted his friend who gave me Miss Rawlings' number. I called her and asked, we talked for a couple weeks, and I asked if I could see the baby, and she said yes.
What? So Mr. Kidd's mom knew instantly that this kid was his because he looked exactly like her own son. I think a grandma would have good instincts with her grandkids, right? And I'm gonna be honest, they look a lot alike, and the memories she has of meeting her grandkid for the first time are so sweet. You can tell she knows it is her son's kid. Time to hear more from these people.
Miss Rawlings, you began to let Ms. Jenkins have visitation with the baby.
Me being me as a mother, and I wasn't able to grow up with my father. If Mr. Kidd can't see the moments that he's missing, at least his mom will be able to have them, and his family has some stories to tell.
Finally, Judge Lawrence is asking the right questions, because I wanted to know the real tea. Something about Miss Rawlings' story really isn't adding up at all, because why was she okay with Mr. Kidd being the dad at first, but now says Kevin is the dad? Kevin wanting a pregnancy test isn't exactly proof that he is the father. So let's see how Judge Lawrence deals with this.
It's a manipulation tactic.
It was, as long as you were giving her what she wanted and needed at the time, it was okay. I've never one time been told I wasn't the grandmother. She did not ever say that she doubted full-heartedly that Kevin was the father. She said it's a possibility between this one guy.
Wait, hold on. This completely blew me away. And you can tell even Judge Lawrence can't believe her ears. I think everyone in the court is on Mr. Kidd and his mom's side at this point. Why was the baby in the custody of Mr. Kidd and his mom if they aren't even family? This is a crucial detail, and I want to see how this goes.
Video chats every day. We speak every day. We text every day.
Miss Jenkins, you said you had the baby for a while. What do you mean by that?
She was going through a situation and got kicked out of where she lived because her choice of men are not just the greatest, I guess, in the world. He wasn't safe. safe. She wasn't safe. She was trying to get her life together.
Thank you, Judge, for clearing this whole situation up perfectly. I understand where Miss Rawlings is coming from. She is just a young woman in a bad situation, and it looks like Mr. Kid's medical condition is serious, so could it be that he isn't the father? I think they've taken care of the kids so much at this point it shouldn't even matter. But let's hear what details are being uncovered.
Temporary physical custody of my son.
Because of the fact that once I told my stepmom, I came to the decision where when I lost the job because I didn't have a babysitter, and I wanted that job, so in order for me to be able to get on my feet, because I was also planning to go back to school.
Wow, Dr. Gator is clearing up so much stuff, so it could be possible for Mr. Kid to have a child. His condition can be treated, and if he did have it looked at, that means Nathaniel could be Mr. Kid's child. This makes a lot of sense, and honestly, I hope he is so that Kid doesn't lose his entire family. But I want to hear Miss Rawlings' opinion first.
Called upon one of our experts, Dr. Jamila Gator. Jerome, will you please escort Dr. Gator into the courtroom? I'd like to ask her a couple questions.
Hey, doctor. Can I have you go up to this witness stand?
Hi, Dr. Gator. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are here discussing the paternity of baby Nathaniel.
Guys, I can't believe this. It's understandable that Mr. Kid doesn't want to take care of a child that isn't biologically his, but it's so devastating. Part of me really hopes Nathaniel is his kid because the alternative is just too sad. But we still have the results to watch out for, so things might work out. Fingers crossed. So let's find out if he is the father or not.
Mr. Kid, you are the father. You are the father.
Thank you.
And at least even the fact that he said that he would have stood up, that was what I was still going for, period.
Well, at least Miss Rawlings is taking the news in stride, and I guess this acceptance of being the father was what she was looking for. But boy, am I glad that Mr. Kid is the father. His mother and him clearly care about this kid, so they should be the ones to be in his life, right? Personally, I think this was a happy ending and a good thing for everybody involved.
And that I knew he's a good man at heart and he has a good heart. And knowing that me and him can be on some type of page, that my child will have his biological mother and father.
Don't hug her.
And he has a family, something that I really didn't have.
Hey, you do now. You got a big family now.
So this really is a happy ending after all, and all because Judge Lauren made these people face the truth. These two are really young, and honestly having each other as a support system is the best possible decision. Plus, Mr. Kid's mom has a good head on her shoulders, so who knows? Maybe things will work out well for them all.
Come here, my baby. I told you from jump I loved you. We got this.
Mr. Lewis comes to court today to end the 44-year-old mystery and prove the man he's always known to be his father is indeed his father. While on the other hand, Mr. McAllister denies all of the claims, saying he is not the father.
And the reason why I was doubtful is because I heard maybe 3 or 4 different versions of who the dad was, and that put doubt in my mind. And I would just like to know before I leave here what the actual truth is.
So, Mr. McAllister, can you tell the court what was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Lewis's mother?
Wait, did Mr. McAllister say he might know who the father is? So after 44 years, he never thought to bring this up? We need answers, man. But before we start judging, let's hear his side of the story.
Never talked to her from that point on.
So what did you hear about the relationship, Mr. Lewis?
Well, with my mom, it was, you know, because the type of woman she was, she didn't want to allow the turmoil from that, a fear, interfere with my life. But as a woman, we had to move on.
What did she say specifically?
Okay, so let's get this straight. Mr. McAllister admitted to hooking up with Mr. Lewis's mother. However, he also stated that he's heard multiple stories about who the father is. This seems to be all over the place. Only the DNA results will tell us the truth. But first, let's see what Mr. Lewis has heard.
I also heard that it could have been my first cousin, Michael. And unfortunately, I don't know. I also heard that, as I said, that a family member told me that was someone from the location, the city that I stayed in. And then I also heard from the mom that he died. So those are 4 different versions, so.
Wait a minute. So the mother told him Mr. Lewis's dad is dead. I wasn't expecting that at all. So how could he even be the father? But it gets even more complicated. There are 3 other stories he's heard about who the real father could be.
As I look at the court papers, I see that Mr. Lewis's full name is Jermaine Michael Lewis.
I never even looked at that like that.
And Michael is your cousin's first name.
That is correct.
Well, at least he's been trying to figure out who the real father is, and all the stories he's heard say he's not the dad. It's good to hear he at least wants to get to the bottom of this and has good morals. But one moment, Judge Lauren discovered something strange.
I'm sure there was opportunities that she let him know. That's why when she told him, and I'm not sure if she did say that, but I can see my mother, if she did say he was dead, it was to protect me because we had already moved. Things were, you know what I'm saying? When he didn't show up and do what he was supposed to do, and she knew that, she had to move forward. Single mother, you know what I'm saying? She had to do what she had to do.
Wow, so he's possibly named after Mr. McAllister's cousin. Truth bomb after truth bomb is being dropped. But is it possible these stories are made up? Let's find out what Mr. Lewis has to say about these accusations.
When I finally found out about that there was a possibility here, I reached out to him and I told him I was going to be coming to Los Angeles and I would like to meet him. Me and my ex-wife was going on vacation. And
How old was Jermaine then?
He was 16 at the time.
Okay.
And we met and everything. And
we all know how hard it is being a single mother, and it's true maybe she wanted to protect her kid, but Mr. McAllister seems like a stand-up guy who would have been there for his child. And apparently, Mr. McAllister even tried to reach out when he found out he could potentially be the father.
So at the point when his mother said his father's passed away, you move on.
Right.
10 years later, someone you're dating and someone you trust, someone you feel like wouldn't lie to you, says, there's a young man saying you're his father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So then you revisit this issue that you had put to bed for 10 years because you thought the door was closed.
However, directly to the son this time.
So they met when Mr. Lewis was 16 years old. So 28 years later, why are they here in court? Honestly, I am completely lost. New stories keep showing up, new twists and turns. So Judge Lauren, can you please break everything down for us?
My brother's name is something Jermaine something, his son. So why would he name his son, middle name Jermaine, my name, if he didn't know?
I'd like to hear from your witness. Please stand, ma'am.
Now it's starting to all add up. The mother pushed him away by saying Mr. Lewis's dad wasn't him and he was dead. And then people started telling him he could actually be the father, so he contacted him directly. Poor guy. Seems like all he wants is answers too. But could this all just be an act Mr. McAllister is putting on?
I was very young and Mr. Lewis was in town visiting, and I remember my father telling me that it was a cousin that was visiting initially. Later, after Mr. Lewis left and went back to LA, my father sat me down and told me that.
And another truth bomb is dropped. Could it be Mr. McAllister knew all along? Well, seems like we're going to be getting some answers soon. The first witness is coming to the podium, and it is none other than Mr. Lewis's sister, who is also Mr. McAllister's daughter.
Actually, Your Honor, in the beginning, when it was told to me, after I got with Jermaine and he said I was the father, I accepted it. I just took ownership of it because I knew I had been with his mom one time. However, the rumors that was told to me by the mom never saying anything to me, and Jermaine is correct.
Wow. So Mr. McAllister even told his daughter that Mr. Lewis was his son as well. So why is he trying to deny the fact that he's his son here in court? I wonder what excuse he'll come up with this time.
Mr. McAllister, you are the father.
Either he is just the most amazing guy ever, or he's a really good liar. I think we need to see some DNA results to get to the bottom of this. It's time to end this mystery of 44 years and find out if Mr. McAllister is the father or not the father.
What are you feeling in this moment, sir?
I feel grateful and gratitude that now I know the truth. If I had known he was my son, a fleet of elephants wouldn't have been able to keep me away from him.
Wow, so he missed all of that time with his son because the mother would never be upfront and tell him the truth. What a sad story, Mr. McAllister. Do you have any final words?
What do you feel, Mr. Lewis? Can you tell your dad?
I mean, it's I'm willing to do, whatever it takes. We can definitely try to make it work, but I mean, I'm a different person because of my situation,
Absolutely.
What I've been through. So, and I can't apologize for that, for what I've been through.
Oh, you have no, as far as I'm concerned, you have no apology. You were the innocent person. There's nothing for you to apologize to.
Right.
Hannon Falcon just came to court and claimed that David Watkins is her biological father, but he's refusing, saying he doesn't even know her mother, even after she showed him a picture. And now, there's another twist. He changed his name to David Dorsey. Wow, what's going to happen next?
Miss Hannon, you grew up believing one man was your father until the age of 13 when he said, "I am not your daddy." Your mother then told you on her deathbed that another man, the defendant David Dorsey, is your biological father. You are here to prove paternity and gain closure, and you have never spoken to.
Hannon is meeting her potential father for the very first time today, all because of a heartbreaking revelation from her mother's deathbed. I can't even imagine the emotional roller coaster she's on right now. It's gut-wrenching.
So, Miss Hannon, you initially believed another man was your father.
Yes, ma'am.
Please explain to the court.
Well, I believe David Dorsey is my biological father, but I grew up with my grandparents and my mom. Like you said, I was known for a man named Kimball to be my dad. I called him one day for the daddy-daughter dance, and instead of his response being, "Yes, I'll be there," it was, "Your mother's still lying to you."
The pain in her eyes is so real to me. The audience became highly emotional as a result. When she discovered that Kimball is not her biological father, everything in her world fell apart. That certainly is shocking. We all feel so sorry for her at this moment.
I thought I picked the right one for you, but David Dorsey is really your biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
After my mom's passing, I moved away. My grandmother got sick, so I came back. I was actually at work, walking down the hall, and she was calling me Melanie.
I'm really confused. Who is the true father of Hannon? Hannon seemed to be totally disoriented. What is going on with her? And now Melanie Dorsey appears. Wait, is that her sister? Amazing. The relationships are beginning to take shape. What comes next? Let's see.
Miss Hannon, what have you been told about your mother's relationship with Mr. Dorsey?
From our conversations that we used to have, is like they talked, like they weren't in a relationship, I guess. Like they talked here and there. I knew that he worked at a fast food restaurant. He was a manager at a fast food restaurant from her, and like I said, they just, I guess, talked, mingled here and there type of
Mr.
word.
Dorsey, were you a manager at a fast food restaurant?
No, ma'am, but I worked at a fast food restaurant.
Wait, I'm still not convinced that Dorsey is the father, but what Hannon's godmother is saying is convincing enough. I think the severity of the statement and the depth of the details means that we are getting closer to the truth. The details cannot be made up, correct?
Mr. Dorsey, I have seen him come to the job to bring her mom lunch. Her mom would talk about her baby daddy being David. He still looks the same, but he had just got a little heavier.
Your Honor,
You don't remember any of
Your
this?
Honor, I've never had sex with this woman.
Shock after shock. What was that we just heard? Does somebody usually change their name? The judge is expressing how unusual the case is. Everything about him is so complex that both the audience and I are 50% certain that he is Hannon's biological father.
That's your dad.
Oh, wait,
But it
this
was
is David Dorsey. You said David Watkins.
It was a David
My name
Watkins.
used to be David Watkins. I was adopted, and he changed my name to Watkins, and then when I got grown, I changed my name back to my dad's name.
So now it's getting even more closely connected to you.
How could somebody be that rigid? Why won't he accept Hannon as his daughter straight away? This is an extremely difficult problem. Mr. Dorsey admits that Hannon looks like him, but he continues to deny it. What's wrong with him?
I don't mean to disrespect my dad, but my dad was a Rolling Stone, okay? So he was the man, and he was very known on the North Side for being David Watkins, the slayer of women.
Whoa, that spark I just sensed is real, and I can now definitely identify her as her sister. Zero doubts. Not only that, but she also displays an alternative side of their father, the ladies' man. Oh my. Since no one will believe any of Mr. Dorsey's TED Talks, I'm just curious what he has to say in response to this.
It's just me and my 3 kids. So,
I love you. Okay, stop. Just don't cry. Don't cry. It's gonna be okay, because like I told you before, you are my sister.
All right, let's get straight to it. Hannon is desperate to know if Mr. Dorsey is her father. She's visibly torn, but I can see the sisters are very sure. No matter the result, they'll stand by each other. The suspense is killing us.
And so you both submitted childhood photos to the court.
Yeah.
And I'd like to look at those. When you look at it, do you see a resemblance? How about you, Mr. Dorsey?
I see a resemblance.
You do.
Yes, I do.
I have to wonder, why did Mr. Dorsey come here if he was 100% sure he had no other daughter, and now he's getting emotional talking about Hannon? What's going on?
That's all I know, and that's all I care about.
And I think it's important to note that Miss Hannon is standing there because she does want to know where she came from. And for those of us who do know who our father is, we've had that all of our lives.
We're reaching the climax, and tears are flowing. It looks like we're headed for a happy ending. The bond between the sisters is heartwarming. Their love for each other is just beautiful to witness.
Don't be sorry. You are my sister. Valentine doesn't matter to me. It matters
daughter-in-law? Can you still just be my dad?
Fingers crossed. The results are in, you are not the father. What a crushing blow. Why am I crying? I guess I'm not the only one. Everyone is emotional, but hold on. This is still a happy ending. The love and connections they've built are beyond anything DNA can define. What a roller coaster.
He ain't got no choice.
Number 3.
It has been determined by this court. Okay? Biology creates one family for us, right? But love and connection creates a family with beautiful, unbreakable bonds as well.
I'm stunned. Ms. Lusk and her mother are convinced that the late Desmond Page is the father of her 3-year-old daughter, Samari. But Desmond's mother, Ms. Page, vehemently denies even knowing Ms. Lusk and insists her son was in a committed relationship with another woman. How can their stories be so different? This is going to be gripping.
Ms. Lusk, you and your mother say you have no doubt whatsoever when it comes to knowing who your 3-year-old daughter, Samari's biological father is.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can feel the sympathy in the room after listening to the struggles of a single mom. Apart from everything else, is it accurate to say that Ms. Page's son had a romantic involvement with another woman? We certainly have a long way to go.
I have 2 jobs.
Let's get to
I have
order.
2 jobs. Going back to college in August. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. But you should be on my side, if anybody, because you've been there.
Miss Lusk, beautiful. Miss Lusk, calm down.
Wait! Ms. Page drops a bombshell. She accuses Ms. Lusk of being after the $50,000 insurance money. Wow. Whispers are flying around the room. This accusation just added a whole new level of drama.
It's not my son's
You
baby.
never posted
I
it
know
on
anything
Facebook.
about Miss
Miss Lusk,
Knew nothing about her.
You said you have an insurance policy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Since the insurance situation is taking a different turn, I'm still neutral. I now want to know why she is here. Since the man has already passed away, it's possible that she is pursuing financial gain.
Only stayed a few blocks from my school. And during certain periods, whether it was gym or my lunch period, I would go, I would walk. He would meet me halfway.
Pause for a moment. What is the purpose of that investigation? I believe that Ms. Page secretly doubted Ms. Lusk's honesty because there's no reason for her to visit the school to find out whether Ms. Lusk is truly pregnant. Common sense?
How did you get the news that she potentially was pregnant?
Well, I'm thinking that someone told me via Facebook or something like that.
No, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Page's attitude bothers me. It's just not impressive at all to be proud of your son while avoiding consequences of their conduct. Though it appears like complete chaos, we must investigate further to learn the truth.
Because she'll have me blocked or she'll have it where I can't post comments. And I don't slander her on my Facebook. Not once have I ever said anything bad about this woman.
The expression on Judge Lauren's face is obvious. We are getting really frustrated with this ongoing dispute, but I have no idea what the outcome could be. This is not a juicy conversation that the audience should be enjoying.
Did you allow Ms. Page the opportunity to see her? Did you say, the baby's here now, if you'd like to?
Because prior to that, we were already where she was on Facebook saying, you need to have your daughter fine.
The fact that they were all in contact with one another and never discovered the truth is one really puzzling aspect of this situation. Wow. Well, there's more to the story. Despite Ms. Page's lack of acceptance of Samari, why is she sharing photos of herself with her on Facebook?
So you've never had the opportunity to come by and spend
she
time
held
with
my
her.
daughter at that party. She also, she had the opportunity, yes ma'am,
Yes, Miss Lusk, I held her and I got a picture taken.
You had a few.
To see.
All right, let's discuss the facts. I think the reason both parties are angry is because the person they are talking about has passed away, which has made them both feel upset. Let's see what happens.
Miss Page is grieving. She doesn't even have a person to review these facts with. Let's be clear. She can't say to her son, Desmond, I need to talk to you about this, this, and this.
We should take a moment to calm down and carefully listen to each of them individually, as social media is not going to provide an answer. I have a strange feeling that the DNA result will be positive after looking at the picture.
An opportunity to calm down and to see that there are two sides to this story. There really is. Now, the animosity you all have built up, that is because you've handled the situation.
Indeed, it is true that there are always two sides to any story, but to be quite honest, I don't think Ms. Page's side of the story has much substance, because all she did was make accusations.
I didn't go to his funeral. I couldn't, because how can I show my face as, like, how can I even go? I can't even support somebody.
I didn't have time to grieve. I didn't have time to grieve
either. We haven't either.
My son was killed. His first daughter was born.
I understand.
stated, I was aware that this feeling of rage and irritation is a sign of grief. However, this is going too far. How could one make fun of a little girl, not to mention calling her ugly? I don't know what to say. This is just too dramatic.
Why is that? Because each year,
give her a chance to respond.
It's too much. It's too much drama, and it's too much for me as well because you caused the drama, Miss Paige.
I find it hard to comprehend the source of this hatred, especially directed towards a little girl. Even if the DNA findings confirm that she is her granddaughter, it appears that she will not accept her because she obviously has no desire in this relationship.
If that is your truth, I accept that. But what I will not accept is you all operating as if this drama has to exist.
Sincerely speaking, I was furious after hearing Ms. Page's "I don't know" comment. Right now, all we really need to know is the truth. Thus, I'm eager for the judge to share the DNA test findings.
The probability of relatedness between Ms. Page and Samari Page is 99.96%.
Let us allow this moment of truth to get some air. That's right. The results showed a 99.96% possibility of relatedness. The reaction has been incredible, and everyone, including myself, is relieved.
Every child needs their parents. And when unfortunate situations arise like this, where life is cut short, all we have left for this child to understand truly who her father was.
All right, while I'm glad the young child at least knows who her father is, I'm also sad that all she can hear are his memories because he is no longer among us. I truly wanted to clap for the judge since she handled this case so brilliantly.
He knows it all because I teach him that. Because that's how I keep her spirit alive. He never laid eyes on her. She's never laid eyes on him except from the heavens.